This message did not come your way by chance, chosen one. This is wonderful timing. God has led you here for a reason. You've been wandering through life, wondering why you feel so different. Why have you always felt unnoticed or misunderstood? But suddenly the mask is off. The truth is out. They just discovered who you truly are. And now they're afraid because your light has revealed their darkness. Your presence disturbs their comfort. Your truth undermines their lies. And the individuals who laughed at you, doubted you, and disregarded you are now panicking. They never expected the quiet one would serve such a loud purpose. They never imagined that the one they missed was heaven's hidden weapon. You were hiding for a reason. Not because you were weak, but because you were holy. And now that you've been revealed, they're unable to bear the weight of your calling. Every stride you take now creates waves in the very ground they stand on. This is a confirmation. You aren't who they believed you were. You never were. You are so much more. Let's break it down. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe. Because this message is for the chosen ones, whose actual identity is being revealed, and their power cannot be disputed. If you find this message meaningful, please leave a remark with the number 77. It is not just a number. It signals to the cosmos that you've been exposed, elevated, and are fully embodying who you were born to be. Only the really chosen will remain until the end. And those that do will find the clarity, confidence, and heavenly validation their soul has been looking for. The truth exposes itself layer by layer. Please return to this message whenever you need a reminder. Each time, more of your full strength emerges. Let we begin. Chapter 1. They mistook your silence as weakness. For a long time, people assessed you based on what they could see or what they couldn't. You were quiet. You did not boast. You did not clap back. You did not desire vengeance. You did not compete. As a result, they felt you lacked the fighting spirit. They assumed your silence indicated a lack of voice, backbone, and vision. They referred to your tranquility as cowardice. They observed your patience and labeled it passivity. However, they were unaware that your silence was never a sign of weakness. It was wisdom. It was a strategy. It was a miraculous alignment. You didn't ignore the wars. You were learning how to win without wasting energy. You were not insensitive to the disrespect. You were being taught to rise beyond it. God did not quiet you because you were incapable. He silenced you because you were holy. You were kept away from those who did not understand your ability. People who would strive to destroy you before you could find your true self. Every time you remained silent wasn't wasted. It was a preparation. It was spiritual indoctrination. You were getting refined in the shadows. They assumed you were weak because you were not loud. But strength does not always shout. Sometimes it remains still and waits for the storm to pass, knowing that its roots are deep. You were anchored, grounded, and developing right out of sight. And that scared them more than anything else because people fear what they don't understand, and they couldn't read you. They had no idea you spent more time listening than speaking, observing than responding, learning than explaining, and mending than defending. God was teaching you things words could never express. And now they're noticing a shift. You are not reacting as you used to. You are walking differently. You are speaking with more authority. Your energy strikes differently. The previously hidden radiance is starting to shine through. And that is undeniable. People who used to laugh behind your back are now staring at you from a distance. They're understanding that the quiet one, the one they've misjudged, ignored, and discarded, is carrying heavenly fire. They are afraid because they know you were never asleep. You were awakened. You were not lost. You were aligning. And now that you're embracing your own self, your stillness has evolved into an unmistakable shout. They're not only uncomfortable, they're scared because they've realized the truth. You were never feeble. You were just waiting for God's timing. That time is now. Chapter 2. Your growth revealed their stagnation. You outgrown the spaces they believed you'd be stuck in indefinitely. You began healing, elevating, and leveling up in silence. You started shedding layers of grief, releasing previous versions of yourself, and aligning with your higher purpose. And you accomplished it without the need for applause, affirmation, or a crowd to cheer you on. You did it in the peaceful hours, behind closed doors, with only God watching. Now that you're walking with clarity, confidence, and authority, it's shedding light on all of the ways they've been stagnant, complacent, and deceptive. Your development makes them uneasy because it disrupts the illusion. They formed an entire identity around the belief that they were superior, ahead of you, or somehow more put together than you. But now your evolution is speaking louder than their thoughts ever were. You were not expected to get well. You were supposed to remain broken. You were meant to continue seeking their approval, continue pleading for their love, continue playing tiny so they can feel big. But something changed. You understood your worth. You've reclaimed your voice. You got up from the ground they had left you on, and now you walk like someone who knows they've been selected. You're no longer attempting to squeeze into places that weren't meant to hold your destiny. It's not that they dislike your success. They despise what your success reminds them of. They refuse to change, not because you did something wrong, but because your progress reflects their lack of growth. It forces them to look inside, and it is something they have avoided for many years. You were the one they mocked, talked about, and counted out. But your advancement is revealing their justifications. They're afraid not of who you become, but of what it means about who they still are. Because if you can overcome everything you've been through, they have no justification to remain stagnant. Your life demonstrates that mending is possible. The transformation is real. And that frightens those who would prefer remain unchanged than confront themselves. They appeared to cheer for you, but deep inside they wished you'd fall. They have no idea how to deal with you now that you're so high. You're outgrowing their idea of yourself, and they can't keep up with the new you, who walks in strength and calm. You modified not only your habits, but also your frequency. You are vibrating at a greater frequency presently, and not everyone has the ability to travel to your destination. Your development altered not only you, but also how they perceive themselves. And now, whenever people look at you, they are reminded of the version of themselves they could have been if they had done the work. You are no longer proof of agony. You are evidence of a breakthrough, and that selected one is the reason they're afraid. Your emergence makes it hard for them to continue pretending. Chapter 3. You are working under heavenly protection. The chosen one. You aren't walking alone. You never were. Even in your worst moments, when you felt alone, heaven was encircling you. You have divine backing. You carry a spiritual force that cannot be seen with the naked eye, but is strongly felt in your spirit. Angels are there in every room you enter. Heaven prepares the road for you before you arrive. Every attack thrown your way is intercepted before it reaches you. And they're starting to realize that no matter what they do, it doesn't work on you. They tried to sabotage you, but you still rose. They slandered your name, trying to harm your reputation. However, God favored your name. They conspired behind closed doors, expecting to catch you. But those traps became stepping stones. They threw dirt over your name without realizing they were planting a seed. And now you're flowering where they said you'd never grow. Your rise is extraordinary, and it defies the pattern they predicted. You don't move like everyone else, because you are not protected the same way they are. The Most High protects and shields you, whereas others rely on connections, persuasion, or charm. Your life is guided by divine instructions. That's why unexpected opportunities arise for you. That is why you heal from blows that would have killed someone else. That is why you remained unharmed even in the fire. You were refined. They are unable to touch what God has protected. They are afraid because they understand you are protected by something greater than themselves. It's not simply about talent or luck. It is favor. It's a spiritual covering. It's a divine appointment. You walk with unseen forces that make things go your way, even when you don't say anything. You have something that cannot be purchased, taught, or imitated. They can feel it. A heavenly shield is characterized by peace in the midst of confusion, power in the face of opposition, and quiet in the midst of a storm. And that shield is indestructible. They attempted to study your steps, mimic your movements, and even match your intensity. However, nothing works since the source of your strength is spiritual, not superficial. They are afraid of what they do not understand. They can't stop themselves from envying. That's why some of them look at you with sideways glances and phony grins. Because deep down, they know they're up against something they can't control. You operate at a level that many people cannot attain, and this worries them more than anything else. You are not only protected from bodily danger, you are protected from emotional turmoil, spiritual perplexity, and soul-deep betrayal. Every time you were about to lose yourself, God intervened. Every time someone attempted to break your spirit, heaven blocked it. You are living proof that when God places His hand on someone's life, no force in hell can take it away. Your protection is neither transitory nor conditional. It is eternal and unshakable. So move openly, speak freely, move forth fearlessly. You're divinely protected, not just for your sake, but for the purpose that God has set within you. No weapon fashioned for that purpose will prosper. They can attempt, but will fail. Not because you are perfect, but because you have been selected. Remember that the God who protected David from Goliath is the same God who protects you today. Your victory has already been scripted, and your opponents are aware of it. This is why they're afraid. But you're only getting started. Your faith is your fortification. Your faith in God's plan is your armor. Even when storms rage around you, you stay calm because you know who is holding your hand. This supernatural protection does not mean that you will not face challenges. It is a vow that you will never face them alone. Hold fast to that fact, because it is the foundation of everything you are becoming. Chapter 4. They can no longer manipulate you. Before they gained access to you, they might twist your words, manipulate your emotions, and influence your decisions like puppeteers tugging strings. They benefited from your uncertainty, feeding off your doubt and indecision. They told lies so convincingly that you nearly believed them. Your discernment has improved, however. Your spirit is stronger. You aren't falling for the same tricks anymore. You've learned to discern subtle energy shifts, hidden goals behind lovely words, and the lethal appeal that previously drew you in. You can see through the masks people wear, the fake grins, the hidden agendas, and the subtle manipulations. Before you say anything, you feel energized. You've developed an instinct, a gut feeling that tells you something isn't right. This new awareness enables you to safeguard your heart and maintain your peace like never before. You have ceased people-pleasing and will no longer tolerate low vibrations or harmful behavior. You recognize that your energy is valuable, and you refuse to squander it on those who do not deserve it. This worries them because your strength undermines their control. Your boundaries pose a threat to their manipulation. Where they once moved you like a puppet on strings, they now encounter resistance. You do not buckle or shatter under strain. You don't fall for their emotional traps or mind tricks. And this transformation has made them terrified of your independence. You've never had true freedom before. They are afraid that their power over you has been taken away, along with their capacity to influence your life and decisions. They regard your freedom as a danger to their previous level of control. Their techniques get increasingly desperate. But you are too wise now to relapse into old habits. You're strolling with confidence, taking your space and saying no without guilt or hesitation. Every time you remain firm, it reduces their power. They understand the old version of you, the one they managed and controlled, has vanished forever. You've evolved into someone who commands respect, prioritizes sincerity over acceptance, and fiercely guards their energy. Your freedom is your strength, and it cannot be taken or diminished. They are concerned that you will never again be susceptible to their deceptions or drawn into their plans. And that dread simply adds to their anxiety since the new you is unstoppable. This is not simply about emotional strength. It's a spiritual awakening. You're learning to understand not only people's words, but also their intents. You're developing a deceit radar, as well as a shield against manipulation based on your spiritual connection. This spiritual armor makes you less vulnerable to the same attacks, which makes them uncomfortable. The weapons they use to dominate you are suddenly ineffective, leaving them scurrying for power that they can never reclaim. You're changing the story of your life from one of control and uncertainty to one of empowerment and clarity. And with each limit you set, you reclaim the authority that was always rightfully yours. Your energy is no longer being used to further the objectives of others. It's a stronghold defended ferociously by your newly acquired wisdom and might. This chapter is a reminder. You are no longer the victim of manipulation. You are a warrior of discernment. You walk with wide eyes, a guarded heart, and an unshakable spirit. The chains of command have been shattered, and this is why they are afraid. You are free. And in your independence, you discover your actual strength. Chapter 5. Your presence has power. Look, it's not just about your appearance. It is how you hold yourself. Your spirit now carries an authoritative quality, a quiet confidence that cannot be faked or overlooked. When you walk into a room, the energy transforms immediately. Conversations pause, eyes look your way, and the atmosphere shifts without anybody saying anything. People become nervous. Why? Because they no longer have to deal with the old you. You've been purified by fire, fashioned by challenges and victories that have altered your very essence. You've weathered storms that might have devastated others, but you've emerged wiser, deeper, and stronger. These trials were not setbacks. They served as the forge upon which your resistance was formed. Every challenge you experienced deepened your character, and strengthened your spirit. You bear the weight of your experience with grace, and it emanates from you as an unmistakable force. You no longer react in fear or doubt, but rather with calm assurance and clarity. Those around you admire and even revere you for your maturity. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You don't dim your brightness to avoid outshining others. You do not apologize for taking up space or telling the truth. This shift intimidates those who previously relied on your silence and acquiescence for confidence. The individuals who once looked down on you are now disturbed by your presence. Their disparaging smirks have faded into concerned stares as they recognize the significance of your worth. They anticipated the old you, the one who could be pushed around and silenced. However, they now face a new reality. Your presence now commands respect, not via loudness or aggression, but through the calm strength of sincerity and integrity. You walk with purpose, commanding attention, and you carry a peace that causes mayhem. When you walk into the room, people can feel it. A kind of energy that says, "I have been through the fire and I am still standing. I am not here to play small." Your aura oozes strength and self-possession, indicating that you belong and are here to stay. The power is magnetic. It attracts the appropriate people while pushing the bad ones away. It dismantles judgmental barriers and establishes true connections. You don't need to use words to demonstrate your worth. Your presence speaks for itself. You are a formidable opponent. That understanding frightens others who previously thought you were weak or inconsequential. They can't disregard or ignore you because your energy exudes irrefutable authority. They can't hide their dread anymore since your light reveals the shadows they wish to hide. Your development, strength, and unwavering confidence are all reminders that you are no longer the person you used to be. You are becoming the leader, fighter, and chosen one that many questioned, but God knew you would be. They are afraid because your presence makes it hard for them to continue pretending, hiding, or manipulating. You've attained a new degree of authority that cannot be disturbed by their judgments or attempts to undermine you. So stand up, walk courageously, and carry yourself with the dignity that comes from victory. Your presence is your power, and it is transforming everything. Those who once dismissed you are now beginning to respect the force you have become. This is your moment. Own it. Allow your power to flood the room, shatter the foundations of doubt, and remind the world that you are the chosen one, unstoppable, indestructible, and undeniable. Chapter 6. They recognized you were the person they should never have crossed. They had no idea who they were messing with back then. They believed they were only hurting a random person, someone small, insignificant, and simple to break or control. But the truth is sinking in, and it's scary for them. You aren't simply anyone. You are chosen. You are anointed. You have a purpose and power that they can never comprehend. Everything they did to try to break you, every bitter remark, every act of betrayal will come back to haunt them. God saw everything. Every covert attack, every concealed insult, every time they attempted to dull your light or halt your advancement. And now he's flipping the script. The tables have flipped in ways they never imagined. Their efforts to undermine you merely fueled your rise. Their attempts to stifle you only fueled your voice. Their actions, which were designed to harm you, have now become the trigger for your benefits. They are afraid because they understand what they've done. And they understand that the repercussions do not come from you. The true reckoning comes from the one who sent you. You are not walking this route alone. You have divine support, and the one who anointed you is not immune to injustice. The guilt gnaws at them because they recognize they have crossed a line that cannot be undone. They messed with someone who had a divine assignment, and now they must accept that their acts have far-reaching effects. They sowed seeds of grief, but you are reaping blessings, purpose, and strength. What they tried to harm has turned into your greatest strength. Every betrayal has served as a stepping stone toward your destiny. Every cry has soaked the soil for your growth. And now, as you ascend, they watch helplessly, knowing they have no authority to halt the gifts that are flowing to you. They realize they can't undo what they've done. No apology, no excuse, and no amount of regret can undo the damage or change the outcome. The consequences of their acts weigh heavily on their conscience, eating them alive with terror and regret. They understand they should not have underestimated you. Never underestimate the power of your journey. The terror they experience is the fear of the inevitable. Your ascension is inexorable. That your victory is inevitable, and that they will always be aware that they crossed someone they should have honored instead. This chapter serves as a reminder that their dread confirms your own. Their terror is proof of your metamorphosis and divine protection. You were never simply a target or victim. You were a chosen warrior, a light-bearer, and a soul on a mission. They recognize this now, but it is too late. You've already stepped into your full authority, and nothing they do will change that. So, keep your head up and move bravely. Human harshness or jealousy cannot stop God's purpose, and you are live proof of that. You are the chosen one, anointed, empowered, and invincible. And those who have crossed you will never forget the day they understood who you truly are. Chapter 7. You aren't going back, and it is what worries them most. You have changed. Self have evolved, and there is no going back to the old self. The person who questioned herself, attempted to fit in, and accepted less than she deserved. That version no longer exists. You are no longer accessible to those who drained you, exploited your goodwill, or rejected your worth. You've established boundaries to defend your tranquility, and you're no longer open to tiny discourse, small brains, or small dreams. You've fully embraced your calling, the identity that was always destined for you. You've acknowledged your worth and power, and you're confidently following God's plan. You've outgrown the cage of limitation, and you refuse to reduce yourself to make others happy, the scariest part for them. You are not returning to the box they made for you, the box containing uncertainty, fear, and limitations. You've broken free, and your freedom scares them. They are not afraid of your prior hardships or weaknesses. They were never what defined you. What they genuinely fear is your future. Your future is bright. It's full of divine promise, unwavering purpose, and irresistible momentum. It's bigger than they ever thought, bigger than their doubts or attempts to limit you. They've caught a peek of who you truly are, and it's enough to make them fear. They are afraid, not because you are dangerous or vindictive, but because you are invincible. You exude a force and presence that cannot be contained or controlled. You are progressing with clarity, confidence, and divine favor. Your light shines so brightly that it highlights the fissures in their own shadows. They know they can no longer shape your narrative or limit your possibilities. This chapter is your victory lap. It demonstrates that your transformation is lasting and irreversible. You've shed the old skin, risen above the cacophony, and accepted your genuine self. Regardless of what others say or do, You are on your way to fulfilling your destiny, a destiny full of meaning, joy, and fulfillment. So, stand firm. Continue pushing forward. Allow them to be terrified because you are not going back, and that is exactly how it should be. You are the chosen one, destined for glory, backed by divine power, and unstoppable in your ascension. The terror they feel is of your impending breakthrough. And you? You're just getting started. They may try to speak behind your back or question your every move, but their words will not reach your spirit. You've erected a fortress around your spirit, allowing only truth and love to enter. Now remember that the more terrified they become, the more obvious it is that you are walking into the greatness you were born to claim.